Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the We Evolve podcast. I'm also putting this on YouTube, so wherever you're watching it, hello, or listening to it. A quick thanks just for being here, whether you've been here before or you're new here. Hello, and thank you. So, this is the first episode in about 2 years, probably. Not much structure for today. I just want to allow it to free flow. Main topics I'm going to touch on are just the podcast in general, a bit of a life update, and why I'm here. Podcast in general. So, as I mentioned, I launched 2 years ago. I actually launched 2.5 years ago. It was October 2022. Had a great mentor at that time. Shout out Lisa Farrell. She really held me accountable and launched the podcast. Had really a few great guests. It was fun, loved it. Recorded one episode that needed a lot of editing, so I just didn't post it in the end. I also went on a kind of unexpected last minute trip to New Zealand at that time. When I came back, I was knees deep in corporate job and training to be a therapist. And yeah, when I came back from New Zealand, I had like essays, deadlines, moving towards completing the diploma. So I just felt like I had too much on. I also got married 2023. At the end of that year, quit my corporate job. 2024, moved to France. So, and then moved twice within France, or once within France, over the last year. So it's just been so much going on. And my husband's kind of been like, go on, do your podcast again. It was so good. And I'm great. I'm grateful that he appreciated it or other people appreciated it. But what I've learned about myself is I'm really good at launching things quickly. Like, I think I can have an appetite for risk and I can jump in the deep end faster than other people sometimes. So launching a podcast, bam. Even though I had the idea for ages, I did get it all done quite quickly. But I'm not so great at the slow, sustainable, unsexy, mundane steps that consistency basically that keep a project going and growing and evolving and thriving. So I learned that about myself when I launched that podcast 2-ish years ago. And I also think it's important to be compassionate with yourself if you don't post a podcast episode every week or every month or wherever you think your strategy is going. I think so many of us can really internalize capitalism and productivity and efficiency and pressure around growth at all costs and post every day or post every week or whatever people say you have to do. And it's just exhausting. And I think it can really take the fun out of creative projects like a podcast or any other goals or projects or whatever it is that you're doing. So I want to keep that reminder for myself, but also for other people. If you feel like you're want to do something, but you're not doing it every day and you're annoyed at yourself, like, it's okay. Like, beating yourself up about it is not going to make things better. Sometimes it's good to take a step back. I know for me personally, I set up this podcast to talk to interesting people. I was on the cusp of changing career. Well, I was already in the corporate world, but I moved from consulting into mental health, kind of awareness work. And I wanted to bridge a gap between the high pressure corporate world at that time. It was like engineering consulting and just being honest about burnout, mental health, blah, blah, blah. promoting the normalcy of going to therapy or going to coaching. So that was kind of the idea behind the podcast, of building that bridge between corporate world and therapy. And I know that I always want to meet interesting people who I learn from. So I know that this podcast may be a lifetime project. It's just going to ebb and flow, and I'm not going to put pressure on myself to, how do you say, like, release or produce or edit or record, blah, 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 all the work that goes behind a podcast every week. Like, let's not exhaust ourselves. So that is the podcast in general. What's going to come? I think there will be I know there will be some unscripted episodes from me, just talking. When I first started listening to people doing that on podcasts, I was like, it's so weird. Like, what makes people think that that other people are going to listen to their lives? But actually, I listen to, how do you say, like, solo podcasts all the time. Like, sometimes it's just relaxing. Anyway, so there will be episodes of me, just unscripted, obviously. Not much editing. I'm probably not going to edit much, to be honest, because it's just going to put more blockages in my way. So it's okay. It's going to be a bit messy, a bit ugly, a bit uncomfortable, a bit awkward, but that's okay. And yeah, there will be good episodes with good, interesting people, and we're going to learn from them, whether that's in therapy or coaching or, I don't know, like, the guests could be from anywhere. I do have a list of people that I want to target, but we're just going to see how it goes. Voila. Yes, so that's the blah, blah, blah. That's the podcast in general. I also wanted to give a bit of a life update and why I'm back. So I already mentioned I was working in the corporate world. I didn't really say that I was burning out a lot. I started going to therapy, enjoyed that process of self-understanding and self-growth so much that I started retraining as a therapist, juggling that with a corporate job, just trying to pay for the studies and life and mortgage, etc. Qualified as a therapist, quit my corporate job, moved to France to eventually live with my husband because we had done long distance for about 6 years, which is insane. Shout out to my husband. And I've been in France for about a year. Like anything in life, it always has its ups and downs. From my side, for so long, all I wanted to do was leave my corporate job, train as a therapist, and work for myself. And I got there, like, I achieved that goal, and I'm really proud of myself. But I realized after a year of working in my own private practice that I was quite burnt out. Classic Emma dilemma, Emma chapter. So I've had to take a little bit of a step back from therapy just the last couple of weeks. I don't think I really needed to, but I wanted to. So I just came back from a 10-day silent meditation retreat, Vipassana. Maybe we can talk about that another time. But feeling a bit more refreshed, feeling clearer in where I want to go, what I want to do. Therapy-wise, I just want to say from the get-go, I love this job. I think it's a massive privilege to be a therapist, to sit with people in a room or on a video call and talk about the most deepest, darkest challenges of people's lives. I love it so much. Like, I can't believe I get paid to do a job that I love. Like, what a privilege. So when people told me in the past, like, you need to be careful as a therapist, you're going to burn out, like, blah, 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 I was like, I've handled loads of corporate burnouts. Like, I'm going to be fine. I love this job. I'll never burn out. But after a year in my own private practice, I was feeling like pretty drained. So there's been a lot of reflection on that, because I think in the past, my burnouts were always like semi-blaming the corporate world or blaming a job or a position or a company or a manager or whatever. Like, yes, I take 50% of the ownership. Like, burnout is partially my responsibility. But when you burn out in your own company doing a job that you love, you're like, oh, I'm 100% of this problem. Like, I am the problem. I'm the common denominator here. Put me in any job, I'll probably find a way to burn out. So, not a vibe that I want to be living for the rest of my life. So, I need to figure out how to continue growing my private practice, continue growing financial security whilst enjoying this job and creating other income streams or finding ways to feel good and show up and do my best work and have a life outside of work. And I don't know the path. I know I have 100 different ideas and 100 different options. I've kind of sat on it for a year. Like, am I going to do this training? And am I going to do that training? Am I going to go back to French university and do all my studies in French? Am I going to train as a coach? Am I actually going to go back to the corporate world? Like, what does all of it look like? And I just don't have a solution. Like, I don't know. But I know sitting around, like, thinking about it is not going to help me. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm a bit stuck. Like, I think I'm building my dream life, but I'm also a bit stuck. I think it's been called gold medal depression. I don't think I'm depressed. I think I'm just like frustrated because I don't have any clarity. But yeah, gold medal depression is like when you work so hard to achieve your goal and you get there and you're like, oh, this is not so amazing. Which is really kind of arrogant and short-minded of me, small-minded of me to assume that just quitting corporate and working as a therapist was going to make me happy for the rest of my life. Like, no, there's so much growth to be done and to be had. And I think I'm okay with that. It's like that analogy of getting to the top of a mountain, like blood, sweat, and tears, getting there, and then realizing that there's like 10 other bigger mountains behind that first mountain. So I think that's okay. I think I want to accept that growth challenge. And I can hear someone in my family a while ago saying to me, why are you never happy? Why can't you just stop with what you've got? And I get that. If people want that for their lives, that's fine. I don't sit around and think about people or judge people. But for me personally, I just want to grow. Like, I just want to evolve. I just want to see what I can do. And I am happy with what I've got and I am grateful. But I don't think we should shame ourselves for wanting to grow. Like, you can be happy and grateful with what you've got and still want to grow and still want to evolve. From my side, being a therapist, like, yes, you can do all the courses and get all the degrees, learn all the books, learn all the theories, whatever. But unless that therapist is truly also evolving and growing in ways that she's scared to, I'm just saying it's a she, they, I think that capacity for the therapist to help the person will eventually reach a limit. And that's okay. Like, I've had that before. I felt like a therapist was really unhappy in her life. And like, eventually I was like, I just don't want to be here anymore with a therapist. But yeah, I don't sit around and judge like my peers or like other therapists. It's more just for me, like, I know I've had this with managers as well, like, I don't know, like leaders, parents, whoever, like, people can say whatever they want to me, but unless they are living in their truth and their clarity, and they are growing and they are evolving, their words have a limit. So that's how I feel right now as a professional, as a therapist. Like, I have to grow, I have to evolve, and it's scary. It's creative. I wish I were this amazing creative musician or artist or, I don't know, singer. Like, maybe I can grow creatively through those arts. However, I actually think creativity for me is using my voice. As awkward and uncomfortable and as clunky as that is for me, I think that's where the creativity is going to come from. And that's one of the reasons why I'm back on the podcast. I don't have answers. I don't have solutions. I've hit a wall or a ceiling. I need to break through it. Let's start talking publicly again. So I think that's where I'm at. Obviously, as a therapist, you spend a lot of time listening to other people and researching and finding solutions and really wanting to support your clients. And I think within that process, I've lost myself a bit. Like, I've lost who I am and who, like, where's that creative juice, like that flow of energy, that flow of life, like the passion for life that I have or sometimes have. Like, I just feel like I kind of lost it. I just felt like I'd created quite a monotonous slog for myself. And I do still enjoy like every client call. I just think in general my life was just feeling a bit like stagnant. And like I said, I'm taking 100% of responsibility for that for myself, but I also want to remind myself that therapy is sometimes in seasons, particularly in winter. I know that, some of my clients have really been struggling, and it's been like some of them are growing, just people are moving in their own directions, their own chapters, their own pace. But sometimes it does take a toll on the therapist. So I want to also remind myself for that, like every year, through winter, it might be tough, have to go extra hard on the self-care, or maybe reduce the number of clients, or book a trip for the end of winter, not sure. But all of this is just a massive learning journey, and I'm sharing this because no one told me this. Well, I guess everyone has their own journey, but I just assumed that, when you quit corporate job and work as a therapist, like you swap the 40-50 corporate hours for 40-50 client hours. It's not like that at all. Like, it's not like you wouldn't, yeah. That's another conversation for another time, but it's just a different type of work, and you can't really show up when you're not feeling great yourself, in my opinion, because I felt that from another therapist. Yeah. Voila. So that's a bit of an offload as to why I'm coming back on the podcast. I'm here to create again, and I'm just going to take a drink. Use my voice and make mistakes and figure out a path on the way. What else was I going to say? I think, well, I'll say two more things. One is, a while back I joined like a therapy Instagram coaching group, because as a freelance therapist, you do have to build your business, and a lot of that is on social media. So I joined a therapy Instagram coaching group, and I really felt like I lost myself. Like, I was like following all the rules, like finding the viral trends and the viral audios, and I just felt I was losing myself. So again, it's a message for me and a message for anyone else listening to this. Take time out, and even if it's like half an hour a day, and ground yourself in, does this feel right for me? Is this the right direction for me? Because I think there are multiple ways to grow a business, and what works for some people may not work for other people. And I'm not obsessed with short-term content. I think social media, as we know, can be pretty dangerous and addictive and can really impact the way people are thinking and feeling. And I know I'm definitely addicted to social media. It's a problem, and when I'm consuming so much, like, I lose myself. I forget who I am. I forget what I want, how to get towards what I want. I'm not growing towards what I want. I'm just consuming too much. So there's that point about don't lose yourself. What works for other people may not work for you, and that's okay. I'm certainly someone with quite a messy, chaotic life path, and I'm okay with that. Like, I really try to accept that now, and trying to be like other perfect Instagram therapists, like, it's not really gonna happen for me in different ways. Like, basically, I'm not gonna put myself in like a box and pretend to be like shiny and polished, because I'm definitely not. I think that's something I've learned also through working in mental health, whether it was corporate mental health, but also now as a therapist. You shield yourself, you really mask yourself in using your own voice, because you're scared to, like, you're scared of what you're going to say. You're scared of the impact of what you're going to say. I don't mean in a therapy room. Obviously, in a therapy room, you have to be highly professional. Like, you're really there to do your job the best possible way that you can. But I mean on social media, or speaking publicly, or speaking within a company, I lose myself. You think your job is to serve others, and I think this maybe also applies to parenting, like, or even relationships. We sometimes lose ourselves when we are serving others. And it just doesn't help. It doesn't help the person that you're serving. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help your growth. So I think as therapists, I've absorbed so much social media content from therapists. Like, I'm bored of it. I'm bored of Instagram therapy. I don't want to read anything else about trauma or, all the stuff. Like, I'm just bored of it. Like, I think purely sharing information on social media, like purely intellectualizing or recording 7-second videos of you to keep people on the app, like, I'm just bored of it. I don't know how I will grow my business, but it has to be in a way that feels right for me. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I guess this all comes back to the why. This is like my final point of 2017. Basically had a mental breakdown, massive burnout, and I was like a shell of a human being. And I remember I spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos and listening to other people's stories, whether it were about mental health or their life stories or spirituality or personal growth. I just spent a lot of time on YouTube. No matter how many books I buy, I will listen to the spoken word of people over reading their book. I would way rather listen to podcasts of an author than listen to their book. Maybe that's just me, maybe that's just how I learn, but I just think YouTube probably partially saved my life at that time. And I want to go back to that, like, 27-year-old Emma that actually I see in some of my clients right now who are struggling. And I want them to know that they're not alone and that they're in a process and that things will work out. Other people have been through similar situations, and you can show up and do the scary thing. Like, you can move yourself forward. Obviously, it's best to work with a therapist and a coach. But that's why I'm here. Like, I'm here to share partially what I went through, but more importantly, turn around and help other people who are going through it right now. So that's why I'm here. I think too often, again, back to social media or even real life, like, people just show up and show the best polished version of themselves. And it's just all a bit fake. Some people can see through that. Some people can't, and that's fine. Like, obviously, I'll also go on social media. Oh, I wish I had that, wish I had that, I wish I had that life, blah, blah, blah. People are only showing the best parts on social media. And I think we don't show enough the messy growth, the really uncomfortable shit, the process, the ugly stuff. Like, we don't talk about that. We just see finished, polished versions. So voila, I think that's partially also why I'm here, just to show that growth is a process, evolution is a process. I think something I saw recently, holistic psychologist said this, so now I can say it. She said, not a lot of therapists will say this, but therapy is about growth. And I know, obviously, mental health is an enormous field, can be highly complex. If you've been through a lot of very difficult stuff, trauma, sexual assault, like all of this horrible stuff, therapy is important to establish safety, number one, and to understand and slowly learn how to communicate and process everything that you've been through, like, vital. However, strip back layers or go through years of therapy, ultimately it's about growth. It's about evolution of a soul. It's about, despite all of the shit that people go through, there's still potential to go after what you want and to grow and to evolve. I know I'm saying this as like a privileged white woman, but I do think that majority of us are here to grow and to evolve in whatever that looks like for you. So that's also why I'm here, because I have been in multiple dark holes myself, with privilege, got out. Whatever your journey is for you, whether it's mental health or just personal development, I think I just want to show that you can do it. It's not going to be comfortable, it's going to be messy, it's going to be ugly, but I'm also on that journey and I think that's okay. Anyway, that went on a lot longer than I thought. I hope it was useful. I hope you take something from that, even if it's just a bit of a pause from your daily life. And yeah, reach out if you have questions or you want me to talk about specific topics. And I'll be back again soon. Bye.